my colleague ministers, Her Excellency the High Commissioner of India, the Governor of the Bank of Mauritius, the Chairperson and members of the Economic Development Board, leaders of the business community, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to be amongst you today for this workshop which aims at elevating economic and cultural ties between Mauritius and India, and also to join in for the celebration of the 75th anniversary of our diplomatic relations between both countries. This event will further highlight the long-lasting friendship that our two countries enjoy and the deep-rooted ties between our two peoples. The Mauritius-India Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement, the CECPA, which will be discussed during this workshop, comes at a timely moment in our history. In an increasingly multipolar world, ushered in by the COVID-19 pandemic and the recent geopolitical tensions, we can only rely on the support of our partners to move on. And India has been, throughout, a partner, a friend like no other to Mauritius. The signing of a trade agreement between Mauritius and India was the culmination of years of intense negotiations. I am thankful to the government of India, and especially to Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji for their unwavering commitment in making this agreement a reality. This agreement, I would like to emphasize, is the first one that India has signed with an African country. This kind of consideration comes from centuries of economic, social, and cultural history that our two countries share. It started from the time, as rightly has been pointed out by Her Excellency, from the time that Aprawasis from diverse parts of India set foot in Mauritius. It comes also from the generous technical, financial, and diplomatic support that India has provided to Mauritius in many fields. Recent examples of successful completion of projects undertaken with Indian assistance include the Metro Express, the ENT Hospital, and the new Supreme Court building. Even in the very middle of this pandemic, where nations have been on a race against each other to obtain treatment and to acquire vaccines, we have benefited from the generosity of India with the supply of hydroxychloroquine tablets and the COVID-19 vaccines. But our partnership goes beyond the realm of assistance. Economic ties are as important, if not more, and they are indeed strong and growing. Indian companies have invested significantly in Mauritius. Companies such as the State Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Infosys Technologies, Indian Oil, and the LIC, to name but a few, are today major players in our economy. On the trade front, India is our second largest partner, accounting for 11% of our total trade. And as we have just heard from previous speakers, the exchanges between Mauritius and India has witnessed major increase, and this, of course, augurs well for the future. The CECPA offers a great opportunity to improve on this performance. I am pleased to note that Mauritius exporters are already availing themselves of the preferential market access to export to India. And following the recent meeting of the high-powered Joint Trade Committee held in New Delhi in August, several outstanding issues have been resolved and the doors for additional opportunities are open. The CECPA between Mauritius and India forms part of a broader strategy of government to broaden our economic horizons and plays an integral part in facilitating cross-border trade and investments. In 2021, 4 new trade agreements came into effect, namely the Eastern and Southern Africa-UK Economic Partnership Agreement, the Mauritius-China Free Trade Agreement, the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, and, of course, the Mauritius-India Comprehensive Economic and Cooperation and Partnership Agreement. These new trade agreements, combined with the existing ones we have, such as AGOA, SADC, COMESA, the Interim Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union, a Free Trade Agreement with Turkey, and the Preferential Trade Agreement with Pakistan, provide Mauritian exporters with preferential market access to more than 75% of the world population. We have left no stone unturned to make Mauritius a competitive platform for exports with unparalleled incentives to manufacturers to produce and export. In this year's budget, we announced new measures to address issues which have been preventing local businesses from making the most of the agreements and facilities that we have put in place. The government is working on chartering 2 regional feeder vessels, one which will service the South Asian route, including India, Sri Lanka, and Seychelles, and a second one, which will service the Eastern African countries, namely Madagascar, Tanzania, and Kenya. They will provide more visibility to exporters and improve the competitiveness of our exports. We are also investing massively in the upgrading of our infrastructure around the island to make sure that our businesses operate in the best environment possible. We have allocated more than 72 billion rupees for infrastructural projects over the next 3 financial years in areas such as the road network, energy self-sufficiency, ports development, and utilities. The work we have done so far is already driving recovery and paving the way towards a sustainable, intensive, and modern economy. Mauritius is aiming for an accelerated GDP growth rate of 7.9% in 2022 and 8.5% in financial year 2022-2023. Exports of goods and services should exceed 280 billion rupees in 2022, higher than the pre-COVID levels. This is mainly due to the exceptional performance in exports of goods and the renewed dynamism in the tourism sector. We are quite confident that tourist arrivals will reach 1 million in 2022, and of course we are doing our best to be able to reach a target of 1.4 million in fiscal year 22-23. FDI flows into Mauritius is expected to exceed 20 billion rupees as several major projects in the real estate, manufacturing, hospitality, financial services, renewable energy, and ICT sectors, amongst others, materialize. Ladies and gentlemen, our economic progress has allowed us to engage in a resolute fight against poverty and inequality. We are reaping the benefits of what we have sown, and we are now able to invest in what matters most to us, social welfare. This government introduced the minimum wage and the negative income tax to pull people out of poverty and reduce rising inequalities. We also increased the basic retirement pension to 10,000 rupees already, an amount which will continue to rise in the next few years. On top of that, we are paying an additional CSG allowance to ease the burden of several categories of citizens who do not need our support in normal times. We are also engaged in a national project to build 12,000 houses to ensure that each and every citizen of Mauritius has a decent access to shelter. We have also made tertiary education free for all our students. Our work will not stop here. We are constantly adapting our nation to the exigencies of ever-changing global strictures, and we will always strive to ensure that it is our citizens who will emerge as winners from this growth. Our institutions have played an important role in the achievement of the economic miracle. As the Mauritius Exports Development and Investment Authority has done in the past, the Economic Development Board will be playing an important role in charting the future that we want. I would urge all businesses to fully avail of the expertise that this institution offers. Before I conclude, I would like to once again express my appreciation for the friendship and the mutual respect that Mauritius and India share. This is indeed a special relationship that we will continue to nurture, and I'm sure that together we can build towards a prosperous future. Thank you for your kind attention.